She's got a point. She's an icon. She's a legend, and she is the moment.
What Wendy Williams said next about Kylie Jenner shocked everyone, and it wasn't just another fashion critique. In a fiery moment that has since gone viral, Wendy stirred controversy by allegedly accusing Kylie of once again copying Selena Gomez's iconic look. But this time, it wasn't just shade, it was a hint at something deeper. A pattern, a motive, a rivalry most fans never saw coming. Let's break down the full story. Before we dive into the receipts, let's rewind and set the scene for what's been building behind the curtain between these three Hollywood titans. For those new to the tea, Wendy Williams built her career off no-holds-barred celebrity takedowns on her daytime talk show. And Kylie Jenner and Selena Gomez have both taken their fair share of hits from her sharp tongue. Let's start with Selena. In 2017, Wendy went viral for calling her one of the most manufactured artists in the industry. She didn't stop there. Wendy bluntly declared, "Selena's not a singer." According to her, Selena wasn't riding on raw talent. She was leveraging her relationships with stars like Nick Jonas, Zedd, Justin Bieber, and The Weeknd to stay relevant. Wendy even predicted that by 27, Selena would fade into irrelevance. Fast forward to now. That prediction didn't age well. Selena's career has only soared, starring in successful acting and producing roles, launching Rare Beauty, a billion-dollar brand slaying the cosmetics industry, dropping hit albums, and securing her first #1 single with Lose You to Love Me in 2020. And she did all of it while staying single. No high-profile romances required. As for Kylie Jenner, Wendy's critiques weren't any gentler. In 2018, during a Hot Topics segment, Wendy went on a full-blown rant while discussing Kylie's then-rumored pregnancy. "She's not ready to be a mother," Wendy said, brushing off Kylie's 1B beauty empire and instead focusing on her appearance. Wendy added, "She's only 20, but her 20 is more like 35. The jabs didn't stop. She referenced Kylie's cosmetic surgery and brutally remarked, "The baby is still going to look like the old you." Oof. Many saw those remarks as unnecessarily cruel, especially the part that veered into plastic surgery shaming. But Wendy's comments have always pushed boundaries. That's what made her show a ratings juggernaut. So here's the real kicker. Despite Wendy's history of targeting both Kylie and Selena, our deep dive research uncovered no documented proof of Wendy ever publicly accusing Kylie of copying Selena's look, let alone doing it again. So where did this rumor come from? One possibility is social media distortion. Fans may have mashed up different controversial moments and formed a narrative that never truly happened. Another explanation? The rumor may have stemmed from Wendy's past jabs at each celeb, fused with the ongoing rivalry between Kylie and Selena that has actually spanned years. Let's talk receipts. This isn't the first time fans have speculated that Kylie Jenner and Selena Gomez are locked in an unspoken Cold War. There's a long, messy history between the two. It all began back in 2014 when Selena abruptly unfollowed both Kylie and Kendall on Instagram. According to insider reports, the reason? Flirty vibes between the Jenner sisters and Selena's then-boyfriend, Justin Bieber. This drama brewed right after the trio had hung out at Coachella, posing for selfies in face gems and flower crowns, no less. By 2018, it seemed like things had calmed down. Selena and Kylie were even photographed together at the Met Gala, smiling like old friends. But peace was short-lived. In 2023, fans erupted over what's now known as Eyebrowgate, after Selena posted a TikTok joking about over-laminating. Her brows, Kylie and Hailey Bieber were accused of throwing subtle shade on Instagram. Kylie denied the accusations, calling them silly. Selena responded with grace, "It's all unnecessary. I'm a fan of Kylie's. Still, the damage was done." Hailey reportedly lost almost 1 million followers. Then came the 2024 Golden Globes. According to lip readers, yes, really, Selena was caught gossiping with Taylor Swift about being denied. A photo with Timothée Chalamet by none other than Kylie Jenner. Though Selena denied it later via People, fans weren't buying it. But while Wendy may not have called out Kylie directly for copying Selena, that doesn't mean fans haven't seen patterns. The rivalry, real or perceived, between Selena and Kylie has taken on a life of its own, especially when you start comparing their style choices, public appearances, and media narratives. And that's where the allegations of copying come into play. Let's look at what both of them have been doing in 2025. According to public records and entertainment coverage, both Kylie and Selena have had a busy year. They've been front and center at major events like Coachella 2025 and the 2025 Oscars. These high-profile appearances are exactly where fashion choices get magnified, scrutinized, and sometimes interpreted as shade. At Coachella 2025, Kylie turned heads in a figure-hugging yellow dress while attending a pool party with Timothée Chalamet. According to coverage from E! Online, she was seen mingling with friends and keeping things fun and casual. But what about Selena? Our research didn't find any solid evidence that Selena even attended the event. If she wasn't there, or wasn't, photographed wearing something comparable, then any claims of copying at that event feel like a stretch. Even the color palette tells a different story. Recent Selena appearances have been defined by red and black tones, dramatically different from Kylie's soft yellow aesthetic at Coachella. The contrast makes it hard to argue that Kylie is mimicking Selena, at least in that particular instance. Then there's the 2025 Oscars. This was another chance for fans to pit them against each other. Both attended, both made fashion statements, and both sparked commentary. Kylie showed up at the Oscars after party in a sheer corset gown, styled up and modern. Selena, on the other hand, was seen in a heavy 35-pound bejeweled gown, one so elaborate that she reportedly struggled to walk in it. These aren't similar looks. One was ethereal and sheer, the other was bold and ornate. And more importantly, our searches turned up no credible claims on social media or in fashion coverage that Kylie copied Selena's Oscars outfit. If this was supposed to be another example of copycat behavior, it failed to land. And then there's Selena's ongoing style evolution. According to Marie Claire, Selena's been shedding her all-black billionaire uniform in favor of spring 2025's trending color schemes: pinks, reds, neutrals, soft earth tones. It's clear that she's redefining her visual identity. She's not standing still. So even if someone did take inspiration from her previous looks, they'd already be chasing a moving target. There's also another element at play here: Selena's relationship with Benny Blanco. The two have been seen coordinating their outfits, embracing couple fashion as part of their public image. According to CNN, this couple-focused styling has added a romantic, expressive edge to Selena's look. Compare that to Kylie's vibe, which leans glam and ultra-feminine, especially next to Timothée's laid-back fashion sense. In other words, these women are curating completely different aesthetics. We also need to mention the actual digital footprint surrounding these rumors. Our team searched platforms like X, formerly Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, using terms like Kylie Jenner copying Selena Gomez and Kylie fashion ripoff Selena. The results? Virtually nothing credible. No viral posts. No major threads. No fashion breakdowns suggesting serious overlap. So, if there's barely any content suggesting this is a real issue, why are people talking about it? It's simple. When you have two massive celebrities with overlapping fan bases, dating histories, and beauty empires, people are going to speculate. There's an entire ecosystem built on that speculation. Fans draw lines between outfits, photos, captions. Even if the truth is murky or non-existent, the rivalry becomes the narrative, whether it's real or not. And let's not ignore the competitive angle. Rare Beauty versus Kylie Cosmetics. Both brands are major players in the billion-dollar beauty game, and even though they have different vibes, Rare is rooted in mental health, minimalism, and inclusivity, while Kylie Cosmetics screams glam and boldness. People still love to pit them against each other. In the world of branding, that's just how it goes. Take March 2025, for example. Selena was seen attending a Rare Beauty event in NYC, rocking a bold, rosy red ensemble. It was an intentional, brand-defining moment. She was glowing, confident, and entirely in her own lane. Around that same time, media coverage painted Kylie's aesthetic as ultra-polished and hyper-feminine, consistent, but not at all similar to what Selena's doing. And yet, despite this clear divergence, the copying rumors keep circling. Now, let's circle back to Wendy Williams for a second. While she hasn't made any recent verified comments accusing Kylie of copying Selena, her history with both celebrities adds a certain flavor to the narrative. She's had no problem criticizing the Kardashian-Jenner family over the years. In one segment, she famously said, "They used to be so cute. Now they're demonic," referring to how much they've changed since the early days of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. She didn't hold back on Kylie either. During a monologue about the Jenner sisters, Wendy dragged Kylie's midlife makeover and appearance changes, even implying that her daughter wouldn't look like the new Kylie. It was brutal, But again, those were older segments, and Wendy's past comments on Selena, just as sharp. She once threw shade by saying, "Selena Gomez is no Selena," referring to the legendary Selena Quintanilla. That comment drew backlash for its dismissiveness and perceived cultural insensitivity. So, while it's true Wendy has gone after both women, there's no hard evidence she recently called out Kylie for copying Selena's look. At best, the narrative seems to be a result of fans combining old drama with recent events, weaving a story out of fragments. But if there's no solid proof, why is this even a story? Because it taps into something bigger, a recurring cycle in Hollywood gossip. Successful women being framed as rivals, often without their consent. It's a narrative that sells, regardless of how real it is. And speaking of drama that spins wildly out of control, let's talk about Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. Because if you thought the Kylie-Selena rivalry was messy, this next saga blows it out of the water. What started as a film collaboration has now devolved into a multi-million-dollar legal war, complete with federal lawsuits, smear campaigns, and a long list of celebrities being dragged into the chaos. It all began with the 2024 film adaptation of Colleen Hoover's bestseller, It Ends With Us. Justin Baldoni was not only cast as the lead, but also took the director's chair, while Blake Lively signed on to star as the female lead. On paper, it looked like a powerful team-up. But behind the scenes, things fell apart fast. In early interviews, Baldoni had nothing but praise for Lively, comparing her acting to driving a Ferrari. Smooth, powerful, and incredibly responsive. He talked about how she elevated the entire production, describing her as a creative powerhouse who contributed to everything from costumes to script ideas. But by the end of 2024, that admiration had turned into legal paperwork. In December, Blake Lively filed a formal complaint with California's Civil Rights Department, followed by a federal lawsuit. She accused Baldoni of sexual harassment on set and claimed he had orchestrated a smear campaign against her during and after filming. Her legal team cited damning text messages, some reportedly from Baldoni's own PR firm, including one that read, "We can bury anyone." If true, that kind of language paints a picture of a coordinated, malicious campaign to destroy her reputation. But the case didn't stop there. Lively's company, Van Zandt, had quietly filed a shadow lawsuit back in September 2024 without attaching her name. The goal? To subpoena private communications from Baldoni's former publicist, Stephanie Jones. The lawsuit was eventually withdrawn, but not before those texts were obtained and later published in a New York Times expose titled, "We Can Bury Anyone." Inside a Hollywood smear machine, Baldoni wasn't about to take this lying down. In January 2025, he hit back with a $400 million countersuit, naming not just Blake Lively but also her husband Ryan Reynolds and their longtime publicist Leslie Sloan. He accused them of defamation and civil extortion, claiming they used their collective power to destroy his career and take control of the narrative. Baldoni also sued the New York Times for $250 million, claiming the article distorted the facts and further damaged his reputation. According to his attorney, Brian Friedman, Lively's lawsuit was nothing more than a strategic distraction, a way to deflect attention from her own behavior on set. The allegations didn't stop there. According to Baldoni's suit, Lively constantly overstepped her role as an actress, challenging his authority as director and demanding creative changes that derailed the production. There were even whispers on social media that she attempted to hijack the narrative of the film entirely, refusing direction and reshaping scenes to fit her own vision. That brings us to the first major court clash. On February 3rd, 2025, both parties met in court to argue over the subpoenas and Lively's motion to dismiss Baldoni's defamation suit. Her legal team argued that Baldoni's claims were an abuse of the legal system and had no merit. But the case wasn't going anywhere. If anything, it was just heating up. And then things got even more Hollywood. Reports in April 2025 revealed that Taylor Swift, a longtime friend of Lively, and Hugh Jackman, a close friend of Reynolds, were both being subpoenaed. That's right, two A-listers were now being dragged into a legal showdown that was quickly becoming the industry's biggest headline. To make matters worse for Lively, people started digging into her past, and what they found wasn't exactly flattering. Journalist Kirsty Flaw resurfaced a 2016 interview with Lively and co-star Parker Posey from Cafe Society, calling it the interview that made me want to quit my job. She described Lively as cold, dismissive, and even sarcastic when congratulated. On her pregnancy, reportedly snapping back, "Congrats on your little bump, despite Flaw not being pregnant." Ouch. More allegations surfaced from a 2018 incident on the set of A Simple Favor, where Lively admitted in an interview to grabbing a co-star's privates during an improvised scene. At the time, fans brushed it off, but in the context of her current lawsuit, critics were quick to label it hypocritical. Meanwhile, Baldoni's team claimed they had support from more than 50 industry professionals who had worked with Lively and had similar complaints, though they've yet to name anyone publicly. Still, the implication was clear. Lively wasn't the victim, they argued. She was the aggressor, but not everyone was buying that. Lively still had some defenders. Actress Jenny Slate, who played Baldoni's sister in It Ends With Us, publicly expressed concern for Lively and called the legal battle dark, disturbing, and wholly threatening. Brandon Sklenar, who also starred in the film, backed her as well, urging people to read her complaint and not rush to judgment. Even bigger names like Amber Heard, Gwyneth Paltrow, and America Ferrera voiced support for Lively. So did director Paul Feig and Lively's sister, Robin. But it was Amber Heard's comment that caught attention. She compared the alleged smear campaign against Lively to her own experience during her defamation battle with Johnny Depp. According to her, Baldoni's PR firm had also worked for Depp. That detail alone sent conspiracy theories spiraling, and just when you thought it couldn't get messier, rumors surfaced that Taylor Swift may be distancing herself from Lively, allegedly under the influence of her boyfriend, Travis Kelce. No official confirmation yet, but if true, that would be a major blow to Lively's public support system. As the legal filings piled up, the accusations started to sound like something out of a Hollywood thriller. According to Baldoni's lawsuit, Ryan Reynolds allegedly pressured him to accept Lively's creative changes to the film, including rewriting a pivotal rooftop scene. But the most bizarre detail? Baldoni claims that Reynolds retaliated by turning his character in Deadpool and Wolverine, named Nice Pulul, into a mocking caricature meant to ridicule him as a woke feminist. Lively reportedly voiced Lady Pulul in the same film, tying the couple together in this alleged act of Hollywood payback. It sounds petty, it sounds ridiculous, and yet it's part of a federal lawsuit involving hundreds of millions of dollars and some of the industry's biggest names. Then came the backlash. Journalist Kirsty Flaw's uncomfortable 2016 interview with Lively wasn't the only red flag that resurfaced. Reports from 2008 hinted at tension between Lively and Gossip Girl. Co-star Leighton Meester, they allegedly avoided each other on set, though the showrunner and other cast members later insisted the two were simply not close, not feuding. Similarly, during the promotion of A Simple Favor 2, rumors swirled about Lively clashing with Anna. Kendrick, director Paul Feig denied the claims, calling them inaccurate, but the story stuck. Even Baldoni's legal team chimed in, stating that over 50 entertainment professionals had come forward with concerns about Lively's behavior, though again, no names have been made public. Supporters of Lively pointed out the lack of transparency, questioning why these supposed voices hadn't gone on record. But skeptics argued that where there's smoke, there's usually fire. Colleen Hoover, the author of It Ends With Us, initially stood behind the project and its stars. But as the controversy exploded, she quietly deleted supportive posts and deactivated her Instagram. That silence spoke volumes. To many observers, it looked like Hoover was distancing herself from Lively and stepping away from the chaos. Still, Lively wasn't without allies. Jenny Slate, Brandon Sklenar, and others remained vocal in their support. Amber Heard even posted on social media calling the alleged smear campaign horrifying, linking it to the kind of coordinated attacks she faced during her own defamation trial. She wasn't the only celebrity speaking up. Gwyneth Paltrow, America Ferrera, Amy Schumer, Robin Lively, and even director Paul Feig all defended Blake in various statements or online gestures, but not everyone stayed loyal. Social media speculation pointed toward Taylor Swift possibly pulling away from Lively, potentially influenced by Travis Kelce. Though nothing official has been said, the theory gained traction online. If Swift is truly backing off, that could shift the entire public narrative. In Hollywood, losing someone like Taylor can have more impact than any headline. Then there was the bizarre twist involving It Ends With Us actor Adam McShane. He played an OBGYN in a birthing scene that Lively later claimed was invasive and humiliating. Her complaint suggested that Baldoni intentionally cast his best friend for that role, adding another layer of discomfort. Ms. Shane publicly denied the allegations, stating that the scene was professional, fully costumed, and featured prosthetics. He claimed no lines were crossed and that Lively's version of events was inaccurate. So who's winning the PR war? It's hard to say. On one hand, Blake Lively has unmatched star power, a well-established career, and a strong public image bolstered by her marriage to Ryan Reynolds. On the other hand, Baldoni has positioned himself as an underdog, a director with integrity who claims he was railroaded by a Hollywood power couple. And that narrative has been gaining steam, especially among those in the industry who view Lively's legal maneuvers as overreaching. The stakes are enormous, not just legally, but reputationally. This isn't just about two celebrities fighting, it's about power, image control, and who gets to write the narrative in Hollywood. And the involvement of other A-list figures, Taylor Swift, Hugh Jackman, Amber Heard, Ryan Reynolds, has turned this from a he said, she said into a full-blown celebrity showdown. Behind the scenes, media outlets have been eating it up. Daily Mail, The Times of India, The Atlantic, they've all covered every turn in excruciating detail. There's even a British documentary in the works titled He Said, She Said, Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni, and podcasts like No Filter and The Crime Desk have launched multi-part episodes dissecting the case. The public is watching, commenting, and choosing sides. 1 minute, you're the victim. The next, you're the villain. And that switch can flip with one headline. Much of the fallout traces back to how the film was promoted. Blake Lively's marketing approach for It Ends With Us faced instant backlash. The movie, which tackles serious issues like domestic violence, was presented by Lively on social media as a fun girls' night out experience. Phrases like grab your friends and wear your florals were blasted across her promotional posts, painting the film as bubbly and lighthearted. Critics called it tone-deaf and disrespectful. To make matters worse, she cross-promoted her hair care line and beverage brand in the same posts, which only amplified the perception that she was commercializing trauma. This PR blunder reignited public scrutiny of her past behavior. Suddenly, media outlets and fans were going back through old interviews, past feuds, and awkward moments, looking for a pattern, and they found plenty to talk about. But it didn't stop with Lively. Baldoni's motives were also called into question. In earlier interviews promoting the film, he admitted there was friction on set, but framed it as artistic tension, even saying, "It's that friction that creates beautiful art." In hindsight, that comment hit differently. What he once described as creative conflict now looked a lot more like the early rumblings of a full-scale breakdown between him and Lively. And the public was split. Some saw Lively as a manipulative force, using her influence to dominate the creative process and crush dissent. Others viewed Baldoni as a man trying to fight back against an industry that rewards silence and punishes those who speak up. On platforms like X, comment sections turned into digital war zones. Users argued over who was telling the truth, who had more to lose, and who was weaponizing the media to rewrite history. The divide extended to media framing. Some outlets highlighted Baldoni's emotional toll, his legal counterattack, and the alleged hypocrisy of Lively's own past behavior. Others focused on the broader issue of how women in Hollywood are vilified for asserting control, especially when their influence threatens male authority. The story quickly evolved from a personal dispute to a larger conversation about power, gender dynamics, and PR manipulation in modern-day Hollywood. And then came the side characters, the satellite celebrities and influencers who started orbiting. The drama. Megyn Kelly interviewed Baldoni's lawyer on her YouTube show in January 2025, where he boldly claimed they'd sue Blake into oblivion. Social media posts hinted that Kelly's coverage might have been coordinated with Baldoni's team, though no concrete evidence supports that. Similar speculation surrounded Perez Hilton and Bethany Frankel, who were both accused of pushing narratives favorable to Baldoni. Again, no proof, just the internet doing what it does best, speculate wildly. Ryan Reynolds, for his part, filed a motion to be dismissed from the defamation suit. His legal team insisted he was merely a supportive spouse who had witnessed his wife's emotional and professional deterioration. But Baldoni's side pushed back, claiming Reynolds and Lively believed they were untouchable and acted like it. The speculation didn't stop there. Taylor Swift, once considered a close friend of Blake's, may be slowly stepping back from the friendship. Theories point to her relationship with Travis Kelce as a potential influence, though once again, no official confirmation has been made. Still, fans noticed that Taylor wasn't as vocal in her support for Lively as they expected her to be. And in the world of pop culture, silence can be louder than any statement. One detail that drew mockery online was Lively reportedly referring to Swift and Reynolds as her dragons, likening herself to Daenerys Targaryen from Game of Thrones. The internet didn't miss the irony. Daenerys famously went mad with power and burned an entire city to the ground. Not the best comparison when you're trying to defend your public image. Meanwhile, Adam McShane, the actor who played the OBGYN, in that controversial scene, continued to push back on Lively's claims. He said everything was handled professionally, no boundaries were crossed, and Lively's accusations didn't match his experience on set. The conflicting narratives just kept stacking up. So where does this leave us? In one of the most tangled, polarized, and high-stakes celebrity legal battles in recent memory. Both sides have powerful arguments, both have influential supporters, and both are relying on the court of public opinion to sway the narrative long before a judge makes a ruling. The official trial is set for March 2026. That gives both camps plenty of time to gather evidence, leak information, and try to shape how the public views the case. But regardless of how this ends legally, the real trial is already underway, and it's happening online. What's clear is that this is about more than two people. It's about Hollywood power, reputation, and how quickly the tide can turn when public perception shifts. It's about fans becoming jurors, social media becoming the courtroom, and every interview, tweet, or red carpet moment becoming evidence. Both Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni have framed themselves as victims of a smear campaign. Both claim their reputations have been unfairly destroyed, but without full access to unfiltered evidence, the truth remains elusive. And that's what makes this saga so addictive. Everyone has an opinion, but no one really knows. And then there's the historical baggage. Blake's 2012 wedding to Ryan Reynolds at the Boone Hall Plantation, a site with a painful legacy of slavery, sparked backlash for its insensitivity. Though the couple later apologized, the controversy is still cited as an example of poor judgment, or her praise for Woody Allen in 2015, despite the ongoing allegations of abuse made by his daughter, Dylan Farrow. Lively called him empowering to women, which many viewed as dismissive of survivors and entirely out of touch. That comment, too, has aged poorly and continues to resurface in conversations about her character. Add in this latest lawsuit, and you've got a timeline of public missteps that her critics say paint a consistent pattern, but her fans argue the opposite, that she's being unfairly attacked, that she's being punished for speaking up, and that she's facing the consequences of a media industry that eats women alive the moment they show ambition or confidence. The case with Baldoni is set for trial in 2026, and until then, this story will keep evolving, mutating, and exploding across headlines, because the public has already made up its mind, at least for now. To some, Blake is manipulative. To others, Baldoni is a bitter director trying to cover his own failings. What do you believe? Are you Team Blake, Team Justin, or just tired of celebrity scandals playing out like reality shows with courtroom cameos? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, because you better believe there's more tea coming. That's all for now. Tea spillers, check out the rest of our channel for even more scalding celebrity drama, and stay tuned because this story is far from over.